Donaldson's throw to the plate. He scores. And going down to third is Dwight Smith. Sean Dunston rides a fastball into left field for a base hit and a run batted in. When the throw got away from Tony Pena, Dwight Smith, who had reached on the base hit, took the extra base.
Coleman had 14 assists last year. He has no assists so far this year. You wonder when he is going to get his first assist, but good aggressive base running by the Cubs, and that certainly comes from Don Zimmer.
An error charged to Tony Pena for letting the throw get away. And here's Mike Bielecki. Ball one. Bielecki has one hit this year, and he has struck out half the time. That makes him sound very much like a pitcher. 50% strikeout.
You don't want to pitch around this guy. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, you don't pitch around. 1-0. And fisted right to Guerrero. He was jammed, and that's it. 1 run, 2 hits, an error, 2 left, and at the end of an inning and a half, Cardinals 3, Cubs 1.
Budweiser and Bud Light are joining USA Today so you can vote for the All-Stars. Pick up an official All-Star fan ballot free wherever you buy Bud and Bud Light. Then enter the All-Star Pick-a-Pair Trivia Sweepstakes. Answers appear every day in USA Today, so look for this display and vote.
I'm Gene Morbig, State Farm agent. Right now, millions of drivers 50 years of age and over are saving important money with a State Farm discount, just like my policyholders, the Bimas. And now, because Ralph and Nyla are over 50, they're saving important money with a State Farm discount. If you are 50 or over and you want great service and savings too, talk to a State Farm agent now.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Today, we're going to find out why America rides Monroe, shocks, and struts. Sir, why do you ride Monroe?
It's the better handling.
Oh, says who? Huh? It's the smoother ride.
Better handling.
Smoother ride.
Better handling.
Smoother ride.
Now, less filling.
Well, whatever your reason, see your Monroe ride expert for the best ride ever. Guaranteed. No wonder America rides Monroe, shocks, and struts.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. Introducing the Eclipse by Mitsubishi.
Do you know what it's like to walk out onto the fresh-cut grass at Yankee Stadium the morning before the game? Now you do. Adidas Aftershave and Cologne. The essence of sports.
In the second inning, 3-1 in favor of St. Louis. Jose Aquindo, Tony Pena, and then Ken Hill. Ground ball to the right side to Sandberg. 1 pitch and 1 away. We have a moment, you know, earlier we alluded to the fact that the Cubs sent some players away, and it certainly saved about $5 million. But it was not just an effort to save money, because when you look at the list, you realize a lot of those players, like Ron Cey and Leon Durham, are no longer playing. Jody Davis and Keith Moreland coming to the end of their careers. Big Lee Smith still flourishing in Boston. But the Cubs, what it really means, an infusion of young talent. And there they are atop the heap in the National League East. Haven't been up there this late since 1985. Tony Pena committing his first error of the year on a tough play, trying to handle a throw from the plate with a sliding runner. Strike. Pena hitting .245, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. He has never hit as well as the Cardinals had hoped he would hit ever since he came over with the broken thumb. 1-1 to Tony. Mike Bielecki trying to settle down after a rocky first inning. Got that ball up a little bit, and Pena fouled it away. 1-2.
Well, Bielecki went in the Cub dugout after last inning. Dick Cole, the pitching coach, got him aside, and he was chewing on one ear. And I know exactly what he was chewing about. There's Dick Cole, the pitching coach. Get the ball down. Basic rule number 1, first inning to 9, first pitch to last. Get the ball down.
Ground ball, and there's Ryne Sandberg. It would appear as if there are 2 places here where you don't want to hit the ball, to Ozzie Smith and to Ryne Sandberg.
Golden gloves all around the middle of that infield on different sides.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis. A warm June day and a very hot rivalry. The Cardinals and the Cubs. Ken Hill, who looks to be a pretty good athlete. 5 hits, including a run batted in. A strike.
Talking about being a good athlete, I asked him yesterday, I said, do you play other sports? He said, yeah, I play basketball. I said, how many did you score? He said, not very many. I said, would you play other positions in baseball? He said, yeah, I play the infield. I said, good hitter? He said, no, not very good.
No.
And it's just an understatement. He just very shy, very introverted. And I told him that he was hitting 4th tomorrow because the club wasn't scoring many runs, and I got a big smile out of that one.
You know, Bielecki just took a little off that last pitch to him, and that brings up a point. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Ken Hill, and he chased it. I was wondering about changing up unless he's a good hitter. You don't usually change up on pitchers.
No, not very often. That would be a rarity.
3-1 Cardinals at the end of 2, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
He was a washed-up lawyer taking on a ruthless drug lord.
I'm taking you to the wire on this.
Can one man really make a difference? Shannon's Deal, Sunday.
Due to the tremendous response, the Miller 510th sale has been held over through Thursday, June 8th. Paul Miller presents the state's largest car and truck sale under the big top at the Fortune Business Center. Over 10 acres of new, like new and used vehicles, all on sale. Discounts up to $6,000, rebates up to $1,000, and special loan financing available. Take a test drive and receive 5 free 2 for the money lottery tickets. Don't miss the state's largest car and truck sale. The Miller 510th sale. Only from Paul Miller Ford Mazda.
It's no secret why some room additions outshine others. Anderson windows and patio doors make a dazzling difference.
Come home.
Get this 84-page book of window ideas at these Anderson dealers.
Rogers Building, Heinemann ProMart, Frederick and May Lumber Company, and Home Lumber Company.
What's for supper, Grandpa?
Jerry's family style favorites as low as $3.99. Jerry's country fried steak is a favorite of mine. Order roast pork and dressing at a price that's mighty low, and Jerry's chicken parmigiana is delicious, don't you know? Choose 3 tasty vegetables when family style you dine. All of this for as little as $3.99. Jerry's family style favorite. No one brings more to the table than Jerry.
Yum, yum.
Newhart, weeknights at 7:30 on WLEX-TV.
The Game of the Week is brought to you by your Toyota dealer. Whatever car or truck you choose, you'll love the quality. Who could ask for anything more? By Norelco Lift and Cut Shavers. We made clothes comfortable. And by First Brands Corporation, makers of new Simonized non-abrasive car wax.
Kids in the ballpark like flowers in the field. You can't go by without looking at them. Isn't that great? Large crowd here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. 3rd inning. Cardinals 3, Cubs 1. Doug DeCenzo, Mitch Webster, and Ryne Sandberg. And there's a strike. 0-1.
Amazing thing about this rivalry, there's almost as many blue shirts and caps here today, Vinny, as there are red. A lot of Cub fans here for the weekend.
Off-speed pitch fouled away 0-2. Talking about color, Harry Carey, who worked here for St. Louis for so many years and is the voice of the Chicago Cubs. Harry, there he is, was inducted into the St. Louis Media Hall of Fame today. Later on, it'll be the real thing at Cooperstown. But did we have a chance to chew on Harry?
Wait a minute, wait. What do you mean we?
Well, me. I got all. Do you see the shirt he's wearing now?
You jumped him like 3-2 hanging curveball.
It's a Channel 9 Chicago shirt, and he swears to me, number one, he has them in all colors. He also swore on a Bible that he had run out of clean shirts, so he wore a cardinal red shirt today here at Busch Stadium.
Were you buying that excuse?
Got some swampland in Florida.
Yes, sir.
1 out, and Mitch Webster at the plate. One and 0 the count. Well, you talk about a split personality for Harry Carey to come back to St. Louis as the Cub broadcaster, considering the heat of this rivalry. I mean, there's a Jekyll and Hyde, or a yin and a yang, or whatever.
Boy, he is something. Those Cub people, they love him. He is like a god in Chicago.
Here's a drive into left center. Willie McGee moving over. So that'll do it for Webster. 2 down in the 3rd inning. And the batter will be Ryne Sandberg. When Harry made his little speech, he assured the crowd that that shirt was not cardinal red. Ryne Sandberg coming up.
I won't tell America what you said. Now, you knew you just needled. You loved it. First thing when I saw you, said you're needling Harry about that red shirt.
Great. Ryne Sandberg fouled out to Terry Pendleton in the 1st inning. 1-1, 1-0. Sandberg with Grace hitting back of him. 3-1 St. Louis, top of the 3rd. Fastball away. 2 balls and no strikes. When you look at the Cubs and realize they lost their starting outfield for a while, and you look at the Cardinals and their pitching staff decimated by injuries, then you look at the New York Mets and you see Hernandez and Carter and others having trouble, you suddenly realize that Pittsburgh lost a lot of people, but the Montreal Expos so far have been blessed. Not only blessed by missing injuries, they made the deal they wanted to make, Mark Langston, and they are 2 games behind the Cubs.
A lot of speculation that the Langston deal was made to keep him from going to the New York Mets, too.
3-1 the count. Ball 4. So the 2-out pass to Sandberg will bring up Mark Grace. To show you the losses, among other things, the Mets, their captains, Hernandez and Carter, the Cardinal pitching staff, people like Cox and Matthews, Worrell's on the DL, McGrain has had a sore elbow, the Cub 3 outfielders, and of course for the Pirates, among others, Sid Bream, catcher Mike LaValliere, Andy Van Slyke, Jim Gott coming out of the pen, and Montreal so far so good. There goes Sandberg. What a jump. Stole that easily. For Sandberg, who does everything well, he has now stolen 8 out of 10. The Prince Valiant of Chicago. It wasn't close.
He just got a great jump. One of the things that Hill does will make young mistakes, and the biggest mistake so far in the inning is his 2 outs, giving up the base on balls to Sandberg. That just shouldn't be done.
Foul ball. If we still have that on the disc, I'd like to see the slide again. I was a little surprised. Sandberg went in on his left side. You would expect on a throw coming from the catcher, he'd go on his right side and try to hook and get away, but he actually came to the inside of the bag, but he had such a good jump, there was no chance for the shortstop, Ozzie Smith, to get him. 1-1. You don't see the art of sliding much anymore. Now watch this. See, he's on his left side, so he's coming right into the tag, where in the old days he'd be with a big hook fadeaway towards right, and it would be twice as tough to get him.
Well, I think the theory there is take the leg, the lead leg, straight to the bag. Get the leg to the bag as quickly as you possibly can. And they do that by going straight into the bag. So one of the things Gil Hodges talked about, one of the old Brooklyn Dodger theories, is that when you slide into the bag, you go straight into it and don't lay the leg back and do the hook slide and the fade out slide where it takes the leg longer to get to the bag. You want to take that leg straight in. After it gets to the bag, then you can take the body away.
3-1 to count. Mark Grace trying to pick up Ryne Sandberg. That's away. Ball 4. So Ken Hill pitching very carefully to the numbers 3 and 4 hitters, and he has walked them both, and that brings up the switch hitting catcher Damon Berryhill. Well, Whitey Herzog, he's leading 3-1 in the third, trying to snap a 5-game losing streak with his pitching coach Mike Rourke alongside of him. Mike with his eyes riveted on Ken Hill.
On his young pitcher is exactly right. And one of the things he talked about yesterday is young mistakes, the mistakes that a young pitcher will make. He gets 2 quick outs in the inning, and then base on balls. Base on balls. There are axioms in this game that will live forever because they are true. And bases on balls will kill you, and especially with 2 outs. And you don't want to do them when you have 2 outs, and do not walk the leadoff hitter. Those are the kind times that base on balls will hurt you most.
Here's a very aggressive hitter, Damon Berryhill. He is up there to hit. He has walked 3 times this year, but 1 of the 3 intentional. So that means they have managed to walk him only twice. And Mike Rourke is going out there to say, wait a minute now. I can understand you finesse Sandberg. Then you got overly cautious with Grace. But now to go behind the Berryhill 1-0, we got to break this habit right now.
Well, it's a 3-1 score up there. So listen, young man, go ahead. You have good stuff. You're pitching well. Go be aggressive. Throw strikes. Go get these hitters. One of the things you have to do as a pitcher, if you've noticed here watching where these pitches have been, they have been up and away to these 2 left-hand hitters. And that will come because the left side is opening too quickly. That left arm will be flying out. Then your body and your arm just can't get there, and the balls will be up and away to the left-hand hitters. Now, maybe Rourke saw that. Hill, a young pitcher, only 23, may not have the experience to sense it himself.
Fastball is hit off his leg, deflected to Ozzie, who drops it, picks it up, and has no play, and the bases are loaded. A base hit off Ken Hill's leg. Ozzie tried to short hop the deflection and couldn't do it. So Berryhill singles to fill him up. Off the right leg, and here comes Ozzie, but he couldn't handle it.
That is certainly a play that you would expect Ozzie Smith to make. 7 errors so far this season, but the reason that Hill didn't get to the ball because the ball was hit to his non-glove side. It ended up on the right side of his body, and it was hit well by Berryhill. But that's a play I would certainly think that somewhere you would expect Ozzie Smith to make, either at second or the throw to first base.
Ball 1 to Dwight Smith. That's where he thought he was able to bring it to the bag for the 4th. Now you think he's got a play on Berryhill, but he opted not to. So the base is loaded, and Dwight Smith, a pretty hot hitter. He's hitting 9 of his last 11, and they count 2 balls and no strikes. One of the interesting things about this game, and it shows you the rivalry and the nearness, Chicago's about 295 miles away. The crowd is roaring almost as if the home team is at the bat. Little fly ball into left center field, and it is going to fall. In comes Sandberg. In comes Grace. Here comes Berryhill.
It looked for a moment like Willie McGee pulled up on the ball just at the last minute. It was just between Coleman and left and McGee. I don't think either one of them could have gotten it.
McGee took his eye off the ball to see where Coleman was. That's the big difference in that play. If, as the captain, he's going to go and get anything hit in his area, he might have had a play, but he took his eye off to see where Coleman was. He was fearful of a collision. And it is 4-3 Chicago. Ball 1 to Curtis Wilkerson.
And Kenny Hill has made his own bed here in the sense of walking base on balls, an infield base hit, and then to Smith a 2-0 pitch. Cost him 3 runs.
Watch McGee, and especially watch his head as he is on the dead run. We can get close enough. And he's already looked. It was a better shot on the close-up that we had of him going after the ball. You could see him take his eyes off it. 1-1 to count. 1-2. Wilkerson struck out in the second inning. The Cubs 4 runs, 4 hits. The Cardinals 3 runs, 3 hits, and we're only in the third inning. We got quite a game going here.
7 runs already, Vince. More we've had in 3 weeks. Total.
Wilkerson trying to pick up Dwight Smith. Roller to the right side. Jose Oquendo nipped him. Wilkerson running very well, especially hitting left-handed. He has the extra steps. But the Cubs score 3 and turn it around. And at the end of 2 1/2, the Cubs 4 and the Cardinals 3.
Go where you wanna go, call when you wanna call.
Get the lowest price ever at Radio Shack on the most powerful transportable cellular phone system. Just $7.99 when you sign up with Radio Shack's authorized cellular phone carrier.
Go where you wanna go.
There's nothing else to buy, and it's ready to go wherever you go.
Call when you wanna call.
Use in your car, or go portable and take it along. Radio Shack's complete transportable cellular phone system. Just $7.99 only at Radio Shack, the technology store.
From dawn's early light till the sun is set. Quaker State ain't gonna win to quit.
Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection. That's why in Atlanta, Georgia, the engine in every fire truck, every police car, every Atlanta city-owned vehicle is a Quaker State engine. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
I got dirty an awful lot when I was little. What am I doing here? You know this.
You're playing baseball.
Yeah, that's right. It came natural to get dirty. Johnson's baby shampoo has been great for my hair all through my life. It's strong. It makes my hair look clean. It makes my hair feel clean, and it's gentle. Look at this kid's hair. I think it looks good.
Johnson's baby shampoo, now also with conditioners for extra control.
I shower 4 or 5 times a day. It's never made me cry.
Johnson's, for the life of your hair. For water that's as clear as the sky, nothing simpler or more effective than HTH Dry Chlorinator. Now save up to $30 on HTH pool products, America's clear choice.
Die Hard, America's most trusted replacement battery. The one over 65 million have stepped up to. Now Sears introduces the most powerful Die Hard battery ever. New Die Hard, more power when you need it most.
I'm Maria Shriver, New York, with the latest developments from Beijing, China. As we have been reporting to you all day, the situation there is chaotic and it is violent. It is not yet dawn, something like 4 o'clock Sunday morning in Beijing. More than 100 people are dead. Hundreds more have been wounded. Most of the violence has occurred in and around Tiananmen Square. And to find out what it has been like to be in that square, to be amidst that violence, we want to go now to Arthur Kent, who has just come back. And we want to mention that we are unable to get live pictures out of Beijing at this moment, but we do have some slides that Arthur was able to take that can give us some indication of what that situation has been like. Arthur, the first picture we are looking at now is of an armed personnel carrier with students on top of it. What was that like?
Well, when the students, as outgunned as they were, had an opportunity to lay their hands on any government machinery, they did seize it. They did put torch to it, and if they could get their hands on the soldiers inside, in view of the casualties that the students were taking by the Army firing on them, I'm afraid that they acted rather brutally in some cases. I saw one policeman and one APC driver beaten to death.
Now we are looking at a lot of smoke and fire, which seems to have been taken right in Tiananmen Square. Students confronting the troops. As you said, they are outmanned. How have they been able to confront the troops?
Well, the troops took about 2 hours to fight their way 3 miles down the western boulevard, which approaches Tiananmen Square. The students would typically slow them down with a stone-throwing flurry, which did not last long in the face of direct gunfire. They would fall back block by block, set up a few burning buses, some rubbish, and so on. It slowed the Army down. It didn't stop them.
We are now looking at what looks like just a tremendous amount of fire, tremendous amount of smoke. We were being told all day long that many of the students, even though troops were coming into the square, just stayed there.
Yes, that's right. I mean, you have to remark that the students were not prepared for a violent confrontation. You did not see them armed with Molotov cocktails, with pikes. Certainly some of them picked up sticks. They broke bricks, made stones, projectiles. But I think all of us in the street, those of us who were observing, and the students who had taken part in the demonstration these past weeks, could not believe that an army in this day and age would be used against a civil population in such a brutal and
Arthur, we now see a picture of looks like a student being held upside down, being carried out by people from Tiananmen Square. What happened to him?
As the students fell back from each successive assault by the army, they would try to resist. Those who resisted too long came under fire, first over their heads. If they stayed too long, the soldiers would take aim with their assault rifles. This boy was hit in the head and died on the spot.
And finally, we have a picture of a tank, a 339 APC tank that seems to be on fire and seems to be somewhere in the middle of the square.
Well, his mistake was to approach on a side street and to turn into the main boulevard approaching the Tiananmen Square before the main assault force had reached him. The students were still falling back. They surrounded the tank, blocked his escape, and burned it, killing, as I said, at least one member of the crew.
Arthur Kent with the latest pictures. Thank you very much. He, as we told you, has spent the early hours of Sunday morning in Tiananmen Square, where most of the violence has occurred. You just saw the latest pictures. And we have some late reports that the lights have been turned off in Tiananmen Square. We will, of course, continue to keep you up to date on the situation in Beijing as it changes. For the moment, I'm Maria Shriver, NBC News, New York.
The contrast is shocking. The darkness and the carnage of Beijing and the festive atmosphere here in Busch Stadium. It certainly puts the ball game in proper perspective. At the same time, for all of us, it gives us a respite from the horrors of the real world, at least for a little while. Boy, what a shock to go from those pictures and that commentary to ball one, strike one.
This doesn't seem possible, does it?
No.
And things seemed as if they were beginning to cool off over there, and all of a sudden, boom, everything's erupting.
We have 2 out in the 3rd inning. It is 4-3 Chicago. Vince Coleman flied to left. Willie McGee grounded to Mark Grace. Ozzie Smith bounced a 2-out single to right. And Pete Guerrero is the batter in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Guerrero doubled to left center in the 1st inning. We've already had 3 doubles and a home run in this game, and we're in the bottom of the 3rd. A strike. 1-1. Guerrero doubled in McGee, and then he rode home on Pendleton's home run. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bielecki watching Ozzie Smith. It is doubtful that Ozzie would try to go, even though he has stolen 7 out of 9. The gamble might not be worth it to take the bat out of Guerrero's hands. But then again, the Cardinals struggling. They are 9th in the league in runs scored. Whitey might try anything.
Well, he has been doing that too. I mean, he has been stealing, hitting, run, doing anything. Get the runners in motion. Try and generate a run himself with his speed.
Every time a base runner gets his right foot on the rug, it's almost like Pavlov's dog salivating when it hears the bell. The pitcher immediately throws over to first. Was that your experience trying to hold a man on if he got his right foot on the rug?
You know, that's one of the things that changed through the years too, because of there was so much more speed.
Fouled away.
It used to be, you know, I went back, you go back an era to when there were some outstanding catchers around in the major leagues. Johnny Bench and Yeager, Sanguillen, Ferguson, Freehand, Simmons, a lot of people. What it was when I first came up was that don't give the runners a walking lead. Make them stop. As long as you made them stop, that was fine. But there is so much more speed now that if you do let that runner get out there to the carpet, it's time to go over to first base. You're exactly right.
Ozzie, right foot on the rug. Guerrero backs out, and the count 1-2. Cubs 4, Cardinals 3. We're in the bottom of the third inning with 2 out. It's shaping up to be a wild one. Mike Bielecki and Ken Hill. Foul tipped and held by Berryhill. So Guerrero tries to uppercut and strikes out. No runs, 1 hit, a man left, and at the end of 3, Cubs 4, Cardinals 3.
You know, everyone tells me what a beautiful car my Toyota Corolla is. True. But I tell them I got my '89 Corolla because I'm completely logical. I look for reliability and quality in a car. But between you and me, I fell in love with my Corolla the first time I laid eyes on it.
My Toyota, I love it. Toyota, could ask for anything more.
If you thought you had to give up comfort to get a close shave, Norelco says, think again. Their revolutionary shaving system shaves skin close in a way that's incredibly comfortable. As the hair enters the chamber, the patented lift and cut system lifts each hair and holds it a split second before a blade cuts it, so it's possible to shave skin close without the blades even touching the skin. The lift and cut shaving system from Norelco. We made close comfortable.
The vigil continues. For 3 days, the world waits as Nancy Gibson decides which box to rub in the double play game from the official soft drink of summer, Coca-Cola Classic. Nancy bought multi-packs with a double play card inside. You can only rub off 2 boxes. Every card can win a prize. Nancy hit the big one. If she finds the match, she'll win $1 million.
Go for it. Can't beat the feeling.
I didn't know who to trust, especially with a foreign car.
Midas has the right muffler for almost every foreign car and guarantees them for as long as you own that car. No appointment needed.
So I went to number 1.
Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Let's talk hoses. Water in, water out. Want to know any more? Ask Ace. That's what I do.
This 70-foot reinforced garden hose is $8.99, and you can store it on this Ames hose reel for just $14.88.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
The leaders in the National League West, the San Francisco Giants, leading Atlanta 2-0, bottom of the 4th, and an old refrain. The Giants had the league's leading hitter, Will Clark. He was on base. Kevin Mitchell hit his 18th home run. Now, the Cardinals have 21 home runs. The Cubs have 21 home runs. And Kevin Mitchell all alone has 18. The Los Angeles Dodgers have 22. You know, an interesting thing about Kevin Mitchell, and we're going to see him in 2 weeks when we go to Candlestick Park on the game of the week. The way he thinks as a hitter. Drive into right center field. Brunansky and McGee, and Brunansky says he'll take care of it, and he does. 1 down. The thing about Kevin Mitchell, he says he thinks backwards. In other words, most hitters go up there looking fastball, feeling they can adjust to the curveball, the slider, the splitter, whatever. Mitchell says he goes up looking breaking ball, and he got that philosophy from Willie Mays. That Mays said everybody thought I was a great fastball hitter, but I was always looking curveball.
Mays is a great breaking ball hitter.
Yeah.
A great breaking ball hitter.
So he's a pup out of Willie.
The thing about it is that you have to have tremendous bat speed. And Mitchell, he's tremendously strong wrist and great bat speed. You can do that. Willie, toward the end of his career, did not have good bat speed. He could only hit the breaking ball. You could throw the ball by him inside. That day will come someday for Kevin Mitchell. But so far, no. He has such tremendous bat speed that he can sit on the breaking ball and the off-speed pitch and still hit the fastball.
People talk about Kevin Mitchell and how he's improved. One reason that he has improved is a physical improvement that no one talks about. Pitch is hit down the right line, foul. When Kevin Mitchell was in the minor leagues, he was beamed. And for many years, he never saw properly out of his left eye. And of course, being a right-hand hitter, that left eye is so important.
That's the dominant eye, you're right.
Now, with glasses and contacts and training, he sees better with the left eye, and now he's an explosive hitter. 2-2 the count.
Coming in here, I would have bet we would see no home runs. I mean, these two ball clubs, I would bet we would see low-scoring runs, ball games, very few runs. 7 runs already just up through the 3 innings.
Little nubber backhanded by Ken Hill. And we have 2 down. Let's get a sports update. We'll go to New York and visit with Marv Albert.
All right, Vin, and on the subject of Kevin Mitchell, who hit the 2 home runs last night, today, this his 18th of the season with a man on to go along with 53 RBIs, major league highs. The first-place Giants lead the Braves 2-0 in the 4th inning. Back to Vin and Tom.
2 down in the 4th, and Doug DeCenzo, the batter. The center fielder has flied to left and struck out, 0 for 2. The Cubs leading 4-3, but the Cardinals led 3-0 at the end of 1 inning. Strike, 0-1. Off speed. Now the fastball in the count 0-2. DeCenzo playing for Jerome Walton, who is on the DL with a severely torn hamstring. Boy, he went down like he was shot. Phil Stevenson also went out with a rib injury. And of course, Andre Dawson is out and will be out for quite a while. Hit to McGee. Willie puts it away, and the Cubs are retired in order for the 2nd time in 4 innings. At the end of 3 1/2, the Cubs 4, the Cardinals 3.
You've just discovered your car has a clear coat finish, which your ordinary wax just ruined. New Simonized non-abrasive wax won't scratch today's clear coat finishes, and that'll save you a lot of grief.
The product. The vehicles. The testing grounds. The results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
From Monday to Friday, I'm behind a desk. Come Saturday, that's a different story.
If a trip to the mountains sounds good to you, forget about calling a travel agent, because we've got your ticket right here. The 4x4 of the year. America's #1 selling compact 4x4. Toyota.
Puts working all week into perspective.
Toyota!
I love it.
For taking charge, for taking pride, for showing what you got inside, for taking time, for staying true, for stepping in, for coming through. This was for you.
Beechwood aged for the taste so crisp and clean, so refreshing. It's the king of beers.
This was for you.
I'm State Farm Agent Bill Harrell. Just came from the Harrises. They like the way I keep their homeowners insurance up to date and help them with claims too. The Harrises told the Floyds told the Carvels told the Lockmans, and so on. When you deliver good service with homeowners insurance, like State Farm agents do, word gets around. That's why State Farm insures more homes than anyone else.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Bottom of the 4th inning, the Cardinals now trying to come back. Cubs 4, Cardinals 3. Terry Pendleton, Tom Brunansky, and Jose Oquendo. Pendleton went the other way and hit a 2-run home run in the 1st inning. Comes up empty with that one. 0-1 to count.
The thing that really turned Bielecki around, Vinny, is that he went to winter ball last year, was very successful. He just had never understood a winning attitude in the major leagues. Dick Pohl really got on him about throwing strikes and about throwing the forkball 4 strikes as a changeup. He came over from the Pittsburgh organization, and they tried to get him to throw the curveball, and his arm angle is not really good for a curveball. It's good for a slider, and they didn't want him to throw the forkball. Well, he put the forkball back in with Pohl, went down to winter ball, found out that it would work. Now he's got the nickname Style Master in Chicago. I mean, he is full of confidence. He really thinks he can beat anybody at any time.
Well, it's always a challenge to face a Pendleton, especially in the daytime. It is no accident that Pendleton hit a home run in the daytime. Last year, he hit .295 in the days and about 60 points lighter than that at night. And for each of the last 5 years, Pendleton has been a much better hitter, daytime as opposed to night. 3-1. Strike 2. 3-2. Last year he did so much better as a right-handed batter. He's trying to balance it up a little bit. And so this year, wouldn't you know, he's hitting about 70 points higher left-handed, and he can't get started right-handed.
Must be very tough to be a switch hitter, a successful switch hitter from either side of the plate. He's just
always they seem to have difference. Yeah. You know, like Eddie Murray is a different hitter left-handed, he is right-handed. Right. Mickey Mantle was. Different weaknesses, different strengths.
I remember when Jim Gilliam first came to the Dodgers a long time ago, Rookie of the Year, a switch hitter, long before you saw so many switch hitters.
Sure.
And I asked Gilliam, I said, what's the toughest thing about being a switch hitter? And his answer was very surprising. He said, not getting hit by the ball, because you use a whole set of reflexes differently from one side than the other. Never thought of that. 3-2 to Pendleton. I wonder if they use a different bat. You know, a left-handed bat, right-handed bat, strength in the top hand.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, one of the games I've always played, when I was on the bench and you look out and you say, what if? You know, you're talking about what if Ted Williams had been a switch hitter? What if Henry Aaron? What if Willie Mays had been a switch hitter? You know, watch these guys play. And go around, hit from the other side of the plate, and give Mays another step toward first base.
A busted bat and a flare to left for a base hit. Well, if it was a left-handed bat, he'll need another one as Pendleton's bat disintegrates, but he singles to left, and he's 2 for 2. So the Cardinals had the tying run aboard with nobody out. Pendleton, as the bat shatters, is a threat to do some running. He has stolen 5 out of 6. Boy, that thing came apart in sections.
It's okay if you get it out. The bad part is to make a pitch like that and make a bat disintegrate, but the guy ends up on first base.
Look at that
and
thing.
That's a deadly weapon. There have been players that have been hit with that thing, and that really caused you a lot of problems.
1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, I've seen several near disastrous injuries.
Yeager got hit, didn't he, in the mouth?
Yeager got it in the neck. And Larry Jackson, who once pitched here in St. Louis, pitching an exhibition game in Vero Beach, and Duke Snyder's bat broke like that, and it went right through his cheek. 1 ball and no strikes.
I never had a bat broken come in. I had bats coming at me,
but not
let go by the hitter. It's like a helicopter blade coming. You don't know which to go left, right, or up or down, but
terrifying. Tom Brunansky popped up in the first inning, 0 for 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Brunansky second to Guerrero in RBIs. Pete with 36, and then he picked up another today to give him 37. And Brunansky has 27. Brunansky at the end of last year hit an 0 for 30 streak. And he had a long 0 for streak earlier this year. Now he's coming out of it a little, but he's still only hitting in the 220s. So they're worrying about Pendleton. He's the tying run. Damon Berryhill, an aggressive catcher.
Certainly players pull for their own players on their own team, but Sutcliffe was just raving about Berryhill yesterday. He's absolutely the best catcher in the league now, calling the game, handling pitchers, moving behind the plate very late. The way he calls the game, throwing, aggressive hitting, right at that 300 mark. And this is an organization with 2 good young catchers. This is one of them. Joe Girardi, the other one, who was down at Iowa in AAA, be going to be like San Diego. They're going to have a chance to trade one of the 2.
High fly ball to left field. Webster going back on the track. Pendleton is tagging the catch, and Pendleton on his way. He is in there, standing up. So Brunansky gets him up a notch to second base. So the tying run at second for Whitey Herzog, and Jose Oquendo trying to pick him up. We have time to remind you we'll be presenting our State Farm Rules of the Game feature during our 7th inning stretch timeout. Oquendo grounded to second in the 2nd inning. Jose 0 for 1. He is a team pitcher all by himself. He can play anywhere, and has. Oquendo last year started games at 7 different positions. He didn't start at either battery position, but he did play 1 game each. He pitched 4 innings, and he caught an inning, so he can do it all. 1 ball and no strikes. Ball 2. So far this year, Oquendo has barely worked at all. He's only played second and short.
Veritable off year, isn't it? The Mets question whether Oquendo would ever hit. He came up through their organization. Whitey Herzog has always loved Jose's glove. He's got a tremendous arm. He could be playing shortstop right now for virtually anybody in the major leagues. But the Mets questioned whether he would ever hit. Last year, he hit .277.
Ball 3. Well, he's a lifetime .260 hitter. That's great. The Cubs are worrying about Bielecki as he falls behind 3-0 to Oquendo, and Tony Pena on deck. Oquendo taking over his head, so Bielecki was not close as he walks his first man. 2 on, 1 out, and Tony Pena coming up. Pena grounded out in the 2nd inning. After Pena comes the pitcher, Ken Hill. That's Steve Wilson, the left-hander, down in the Cub bullpen. And time now, Dick Pohl, who walks out to the mound almost like the leader of the Shore Patrol. I mean, you want to talk about a positive-looking pitching coach. He's either going out to instruct him or whip him.
There will be a small discussion on the mound, that's for sure. Dick is certainly the boss when it comes to what happens out there. One of the things that young pitchers don't understand, and it's very difficult for young pitchers to understand, he's getting a slice of raw meat right there. He is really chewing and getting something across.
Well, I know you were great, but did you ever get chewed out on the mound? I mean, chewed out.
No, not really. No. Gil Hodges would come to the mound and say something, but very softly. I mean, he didn't have to speak very loudly, but he would. I don't ever recall really getting chewed out.
Probably doesn't help a pitcher very much to go. I mean, he's in enough trouble, unless sometimes you think he's a sleepwalker.
It's the personality, you know. I mean, each pitching coach must know the personality of the pitcher on the mound. You know, and there might be 9 other pitchers on this Cub staff that Dick Pohl could not talk to the way that he talked to Bielecki, but it might work for him.
Well, we'll see. Tony Pena at the plate. 2 on, 1 out. 4-3 Cubs. First ball swinging. A fly ball to left field. And, of course, that brings up a question. As a pitcher, you have just walked Oquendo on 4 pitches. Are you saying I'm going to try and get ahead of the hitter and get it over the plate, and Oquendo or Pena is saying he's going to try and throw me a fastball strike, I'm going to go after the first pitch?
One of the points I wanted to make, Benny, there was that there are times when a pitcher will throw 4 balls like to an Oquendo and not really understand why, from a mechanical standpoint, he's throwing the ball so far out of the strike zone. And that's where the pitching coach can come up and out there and help. I think Poe went out and said, listen, I want you to throw strikes. I want you to throw strikes inside. He is an old-time pitching coach in the sense that he is trying to establish with his pitching staff, let's pitch inside. Let's go inside. because if we pitch inside, then we can get them out on the outside part of the plate. Everything through Oquendo was away, up and away, up and away. And the old-timers, I'm telling you, the old-time pitching coaches just flat do not like that. They want to see somebody challenge somebody, go inside. When I say inside, I don't mean on the plate inside. I mean from the end of the plate toward the hitter.
0-1 to count to Ken Hill. He struck out in the second inning. Breaking ball is hit up in the air. Goes Dunston to take a base hit away from him. Sean Dunston up the ladder to save the tying run from scoring, and the Birds lead 2 out on the limb. At the end of 4, Cubs 4, Cardinals 3. We'll be right back.
The Loudon Gang rides to the rescue.
This is an emergency. We'll egg you to kingdom come.
On Newhart.
Weeknights at 7:30 on WLEX TV.
We were so busy in California waterbeds, we're bringing it back. $1 million brand name clearance. The best brand names up to 70% off. Vaughn, Bassett, Singer, Lee, Webb, Pillion, Impact, and more. Some items that are below cost. Oak bookcase waterbeds $196. Oak just below our cost. Complete bedroom group starting at $497. Only through Monday. Only in all California waterbeds showrooms.
Sun's coming up, temperatures rising, hot deals brewing on the horizon. That's Food Town. Everything's coming up, savings. Food Town's your hometown grocery store, dedicated to giving you more. That's what you come to Food Town for. Everything's coming up, savings. At Food Town, everything's coming up, savings.
Central Kentuckians have always expected more out of life. They've expected more of themselves and more of their families. They've had big aspirations and big dreams. And over the years, a surprising number of them have realized their dreams, helped in many cases by a bank. A family of banks that's done more things for more Central Kentuckians than any other. We're First Security, the banks for people who expect the best.
The Weekend Report at 6 and 11 Saturday and Sunday night at 11.
Let's take another look at that big play by Sean Dunston. He had to be fully extended. And remember, he taking a base hit away from the opposing pitcher. And down in the dugout, pitching coach Dick Pohl, who looks like a retired drill instructor from Paris Island.
I don't know if he's retired.
He's running his boot camp down there.
Oh, he caught a break there. Hill, not just an easy out. Hill hitting 263, but a good play by Dunston to get Bielecki out of a hole.
So it's still 4-3 Cubs, and we go to the 5th. Mitch Webster, Ryan Sandberg, and Mark Grace. Webster rolled to short, flied to center, 0 for 2. Hit in the air down the left field line, slicing in the corner, foul. Coleman is just going to watch it go in the seats. Cardinals scored 3 in the first inning. The Cubs came back with 1 in the second and 3 in the third. Kind of a swinging bunt, 0-2. So we're in the 5th inning, and the Cubs are leading 4-3. Big crowd. The Cubs just finished a large attendant crowd with the Cincinnati Reds at Wrigley Field. Strike 3 to Webster. In fact, they had a Sunday game. That was the largest crowd since 1987. Big crowd here today. Meanwhile, Toronto pounding Boston 9-2. The new manager, Cito Gaston, and of course the new ballpark awaits them now that they've gotten the certificate of occupancy. That was some story. Here's a $350 million edifice, and the commissioner in charge of certificates of occupancy said, nope, I've got 4 pages of building violations.
You wouldn't give them the key to the front door. They couldn't get in.
1 hour later, they got the certificate, I understand. And when they open up that magnificent blue ballpark in Toronto, NBC will be there. 2-0 to Sandberg. And he hits one foul off third. And that will peel back into the crowd by a half a dozen rows. Sandberg fouled out and walked. That was the beginning of the troubles for Ken Hill in the third inning. With 2 outs, Sandberg walked, stole second, Grace walked, and Berryhill slammed one off Hill's leg to load the bases, and Dwight Smith doubled in all 3. Ground foul. 2-2.
Talking to Mike Rourke about Mike Hill, or Kenny Hill, excuse me. You know, a 2-4 record. He's a young pitcher that has never won at any level on a big way. He was 9-9 at Arkansas last year, but never a winning record. And he said he would almost rather have Kenny Hill win a game 8-7 than pitch a good game and lose 2-1. He wants to get that winning attitude, almost learn what it takes to be a winner. And that is something that you have to learn on the major league level.
3-2 the count to Ryne Sandberg. 1 out in the 5th inning. Cubs leading the Cardinals 4-3. And the fastball popped up. It'll be Ozzie Smith, the shortstop. 2 down. I was wondering, in your very early days, was there a game where you felt you belonged in the big leagues? Was there a dramatic turning point where you won a game and you said to yourself, you know, I belong up here. I can pitch here.
Well, I think a couple of times in my career in 1967, I went to Wrigley Field and played against these Chicago Cubs, had them shut out up into the bottom of the 9th inning, and my roommate Buddy Harrelson let a ball go between his legs that tied the game at 1-1. He was in tears after the game. But the manager, Wes Westrom, left me in the ball game. I led off the top of the 10th with a single, bunted to second, and ultimately came around and scored, went on, pitched the bottom of the 10th, and won 2-1. That was one game that really said, yeah, now you really belong. The other one, the All-Star game, as a rookie in Anaheim, where we're going to be with the All-Star team, and pitched the bottom of the 15th inning.
Mark Grace, a 2-out single to right, and the batter will be Damon Berryhill. I'm sure in your growth and development there are important moments.
There are steps. There are steps that you learn what it takes to be a winner.
What about the All-Star game? Why did that make you feel?
Well, I was picked by Walter Alston. I was sitting there with, I think it was Claude Osteen who had pitched, or Don Drysdale. I don't remember. But I walked in from the bullpen in Anaheim. Remember, they were way out in right field and it was open. And I was looking around, Willie Mays in center, Henry Aaron, there was Pete Rose, there was Tony Perez, there was Tim McCarver, and I said, listen, these guys are counting on me. And a year and a half ago, I was a student over at USC, and now I'm in the middle of an All-Star game here in Southern California. And once I got to that mound, I walked past Pete, second base. He says, you want me to pitch? No, I'll play second. I said, no. And I was really nervous until I got to the mound, and it was like walking into my living room where I said, this is where I belong. This is where I know what to do up here on this little patch of dirt. And you do belong.
Perez, 2 balls and no strikes.
Perez hit a home run on the top of the 15th.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to face Freehan and Conigliaro. And I got those 2 outs. And the third hitter was Yastrzemski. What do you think he did? He got a free pass to first base on 4 straight balls. No, thank you.
Always said you were a bright young man. 2 balls and no strikes to Damon Berryhill. And he hits a fly ball to right field. Brunansky is there. No runs, 1 hit, a man left. We have 4.5 innings in. The Cubs 4 and the Cardinals 3.
I like quiet little towns like Crested Butte. Catching a live one out of the chute. Fireside chats, mountain air, hot dogs, cold Coors beer. It takes a part of this country as cold and clean as the Rockies to brew a beer as pure and natural as Coors. Brew refresh, just like you like it. Have an ice cold Coors with a friend of yours. A Rocky Mountain legend, an American original.
If you think there's not a nickel's worth of difference between Chevy S10 and Ford Ranger, check Chevy's longer, wider box. Or Chevy's warranty, covering hundreds of non-powertrain parts. 2 years longer than Ford's. In fact, there's over 20,000 nickels difference, because this Chevy costs over $1,000 less. Plus choose another 15,000 nickels cash back. And you can take that to the bank.
That's the day you Chevy truck.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to. And nobody knows that better than a woman.
Hello? Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute cologne, deodorant, and everything else. Brute. It smells like a man.
Road Handler treadlocks. Test them for 1,000 miles. If you don't agree they're the toughest tires you've owned, Sears will buy them back. Road Handler treadlocks at Sears. Tough tires you can trust.
What makes New Cheese Trio the cheese lover's burger? Cheese, 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 cheese. 3 cheeses, 2 flame-broiled patties. New Cheese Trio for a limited time.
Burger King, main cheese.
Bottom of the 5th inning, Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, and Ozzie Smith. Good ball game with the Cubs leading the Cardinals 4-3 after the Cardinals got out in front 3-0. Coleman grounded to first, flied to left, 0 for 2. Bielecki. It almost knocked a syllable off, but he made the play. 1 down. That had to be a pitcher's nightmare, always, a comebacker.
I think it's just to get yourself in good fielding position. You know the thing I thought of? It was one of the things I read in the paper here as we got up this morning. Mitch Williams, who came in to save the game for the Cubs last night. If that ball were hit and Mitch Williams were pitching, base hit right up the middle.
Sure.
That pitcher getting in fielding position becomes the 5th infielder. You can do so much for yourself.
I love the line in the paper where they were quoting Mitch Williams, who struck out the side last night to preserve the victory. Here's the strike 1 pitch to McGee, and he said, I watch Rick Sutcliffe pitch, and it makes me sick. He pitches like he's sitting on a lawn chair. I'm out there pitching like my hair is on fire. That sums him up pretty well. 1 ball and 1 strike to Willie McGee. There's Rick Sutcliffe, who pitches, according to Mitch, like he's sitting on a lawn chair. 1-2. Fouled away by McGee into the crowd, down the line. Willie doubled to left, got a high changeup in the 1st inning. Then last time up, pulled the ball on the ground to Mark Grace. McGee batting .227. Never gotten started this year. Milt Thompson did very well in his stead. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Over the top, and a breaking ball is hit to Sandberg. 2 down. Well, you talk about getting on top of a breaking ball. That was a classic example. He really got on top of that one. That was a hammer curve. And the batter will be Ozzie Smith.
One of the problems Bielecki has had is not getting on top of the ball and throwing the ball from back to front. Almost as if you're going to draw a straight line through from the back of your ear to the front of your ear. And what you really have to do is kind of draw it down through your jawbone.
Ozzie Smith fouling out to Damon Berryhill, and at the end of 5. The Cubs 4, the Cardinals 3, and time for the Birds to go to work.
I know my way around the switchboard better than anyone. But this new system they got here, well, it's so complicated no one can work it out. It's no wonder things are running amok around here. I think they should just cut their losses and start from scratch.
I was born in a Ford family, and I'll never drive anything but a Chevy now.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
She won't drive anything but a truck.
But a four-wheel drive. Best part about the Chevy truck is shifting the fly.
I told snowmobiles with it, take it to cut wood, use it with the plow down the lakes, to play hockey, or just...
I love it.
The truck will handle anything that you throw at it.
We can go practically any place in our Chevy truck. We'll never go back to Ford again.
That's the day Chevy truck.
You know, there are a lot of places where you can look for an auto part. But here is where you'll find it. Napa. We've got your part. In fact, we have more than 125,000 parts available.
Napa has parts for imports and other hard-to-find parts, and at the right prices. So don't waste time looking anyplace else. Come to Napa first. We've got your part.
95,000 miles and no problems.
Because Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Die Hard, America's most trusted replacement battery. The one over 65 million have stepped up to. Now Sears introduces the most powerful Die Hard battery ever. New Die Hard, more power when you need it most.
And Mike Schmidt becomes a memory. And what a happy memory indeed in the National League. It was quite an emotional farewell.
It certainly was.
As Mike called it, occurrence of the game and of life itself today. You ponder the question about man's inhumanity to man. Here's Mike Bielecki, 4-3 Chicago in the 6th inning. And he hits it down the right field line, slicing in the corner, foul. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Cubs. 3 runs, 5 hits, and 2 errors for the Cardinals. In the top of the 6th.
You're ever so right, Vinny, in the sense that what you talked about before about coming back to the ballgame and as a relief from what is going on over there. I mean, we sit and see the pictures and listen. You know, after getting excited in the joy of a baseball game, you listen to that and you come back and you really, it's like a downer.
Oh, and how? Bielecki hit a soft line drive right at Guerrero in the 2nd inning, hit back to the box in the 4th. No balls, 2 strikes. Top of the 6th inning, Cubs 4, Cardinals 3, second game of the 3-game series. So close that John McSherry's right elbow quivered. He wanted to bring it up, and he fought that elbow to the death and kept it quiet. But I don't know if you can see his right elbow behind Pena's head, but from behind home plate, oh, it really quivered and shook.
We call that a half a strike from the bench. What is that, 2.5 strikes now we got?
2 and 2. Chopper to third. Pendleton taking plenty of time, and that will be that. No runs, no hits, a man left. At the end of 5.5 innings, the Cubs 4 and the Cardinals 3.
Now, get up to $1,600 cash back for first-time buyers on select hot new Pontiacs. Or get 2.9% GMAC financing. Other cashback amounts and low financing rates are available on virtually every Pontiac in stock. That's up to $1,600 cash back or 2.9% GMAC financing on some of America's hottest sport coupes and sedans. See your Pontiac dealer for details now. Rebuild excitement!
Oh, cheese lovers, this is it! Burger King unveils the new cheese trio. Cheeseburger, cheeseburger, cheese. Mild Monterey Jack, creamy American, mellow Swiss melting over, under, and between a 1/4 pound of flame broiled beef. Or make it deluxe with mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomato. The new cheese trio. Just one taste and you'll never, ever, never, ever, never forget where to get it. Burger King.
GM makes the dream. GMAC makes the dream yours. With either financing or smart lease, custom tailored to fit your budget. Right at your GM dealers.
The dreams of America, GMAC.
Where
where dirt goes, you know it's up to no good, especially when dirt goes for your car. So when it comes to stopping dirt,
Okay.
more people go with Fram. Because no air filter traps more dirt than Fram. It's the #1 way to stop dirt in its tracks.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Fram, the end of the road for dirt.
A reminder, next Sunday, starting at 12 noon, next Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, the Tigers and the Blue Jays, we will take a look, the entire nation will, at the new stadium in Toronto with Cito Gaston at the helm. Others will see the Cincinnati Reds at Dodger Stadium. Pedro Guerrero, Terry Pendleton, and Tom Brunansky. Off speed. Check swing, no swing. 1 ball, no strikes. Paid attendance today, 44,719. Well over 45,000 in the house. Cardinals continue to draw well. They went over the million mark last night. The Dodgers and the Cardinals, the two teams in the National League to go over the million mark. And as you can see, the average at home. 1-1. Hit down the line, slicing foul and out of play, and the count 1-2.
The National League East and West have just come off of their series when they're playing each other, Vinny.
Got him. One run, one hit. You talk about an 11th hour reprieve. It's called Webster. And we're even at 5.
You know, everyone tells me what a beautiful car my Toyota Corolla is. True. But I tell them I got my '89 Corolla because I'm completely logical. I look for reliability and quality in a car. But between you and me, I fell in love with my Corolla the first time I laid eyes on it.
My Toyota, I love it. Toyota. Anything more.
I like quiet little towns like Crested Butte. Catching a live one out of the chute. Fireside chats, mountain air, hot dogs, cold Coors beer. It takes a part of this country as cold and clean as the Rockies to brew a beer as pure and natural as Coors. Brew refresh, just like you like it. Tap an ice cold Coors with a friend of yours. A Rocky Mountain legend, an American original.
I know college won't be an easy climb. That's why I joined the Army. With the GI Bill and the Army College Fund, in 2 years I'll have $17,000 to help me pay for college. And I'm developing the confidence and determination I'll need to help me succeed when I get there. Now I know I can make it to the top, not just in college, but in whatever I do.
2 outs, 1-run lead. Keep the ball down in the strike zone. Looks like Daly just goosed the ball, and you couldn't hit the crosshairs if you put them up there any better than that. Right down Broadway. And Miss Webster says, hold on here, I'll take care of this one. The Cubbies tie it up. Now look at Whitey. He is not saying, isn't it a lovely day to stay at the ballpark for a couple of more innings, I'll tell you that. Hot fudge Sundays.
And we're in the bottom of the ninth. Milt Thompson batting for Ken Daly against Calvin Schiraldi. 1 ball, 1 strike. It has always been a great rivalry. When you boil what has happened since 1900, the Cubs have won 51% of the games and the Cardinals 49%. And they have blistered each other down through the years. 1-2 the count. Thompson, who did such a great job playing for Willie McGee, now in there hitting against Calvin Schiraldi. So Bielecki and Wilson, Hill, Costello, and Daly, they have nothing to do with it. Popped in the air to left field. McClendon coming up as Ramos goes out, and McClendon almost ran out from under it. McClendon and Ramos just coming into the game. neither having the feel for it. Always the threat of a collision. And Lloyd could hear footsteps and almost overran the ball. One down.
The sun becoming a factor here at Busch Stadium too, Vinny. It's about almost closing in on 4:30, 4:22 now, so you'll get some shadows and you'll get the sun in those outfielders' eyes, and some wind at the top of the stadium as well.
Vince Coleman is 0 for 4, grounded out twice, flied to left, flied to center, and he's followed by Willie McGee. In there for the Cardinals. They blew a 3-0 lead. The Cubs had a 4-3 lead. The Cardinals came back to take a 5-4 lead, and the Cubs have tied them 5-5, much to the delight of this big crowd. They're having a ball. Fastball missed. Ball 2.
A lot of people around the country, as we talked about in the pregame show, they know about the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Giants and the Dodgers. A lot of people on the coast of this country don't realize how big a rivalry this Chicago-St. Louis one really is.
A drive to left center, and DeCenzo is there. So what the Cubs have done, keep Vince Coleman off the base paths. He is 0 for 5. And remember, he is 22 for 22 in stolen bases. If he gets aboard, it's almost a cinch he's at second. And the batter is Willie McGee. Double to left, and then 3 ground balls. So McGee is 1 for 4. Strike. 0-1. So the Cardinals got a first inning home run. The Cubs got a 9th inning home run, and we're in the bottom of the 9th. Fouled away. Wilkerson shortening up in front of the bag, but now with 2 strikes on McGee, Curtis goes back to a normal position. Grace guarding the chalk deep at first. 0-2. McGee followed by Ozzie Smith. 1-2. Slow and high, off-speed breaking ball. 2-2 to McGee.
Anytime you get into overtime, and here in the bottom of the 9th, a tie ball game, you think home run, just the way Webster was when he was up in the top of the inning. Calvin, 4 home runs in 34 innings pitched for Chicago.
Now McGee, should he get aboard, and he doesn't walk very much, only 7 times in over 100 at bats. He has stolen 6 out of 9 if he gets aboard. And he hits one off the glove of Schiraldi, deflected to Sandberg. They get him. Otherwise, that might have gone up the middle. 1-4-3. 5-5. Chicago and St. Louis, 295 miles apart and 5 games in the standings.
Astronomers tell us there won't be a total eclipse in America until the year 2017. They are very much mistaken. This is the year of the eclipse. Introducing the Eclipse GS Turbo by Mitsubishi. Try not to stare.
There's a myth wandering around business today. It says you have to be big to have an 800 number. A particularly abominable myth. In truth, AT&T has an 800 service any size business can afford. It works on your existing phone line with no special installation. So the only thing disturbing about this myth is if you believe it. AT&T, call us. Find out how competitive our prices really are.
I like hanging around, getting down, walking the dog, doing the town. I like everything I got right here. Rainbows and cold Coors beer. It takes a part of this country as cold and clean as the Rockies to brew a beer as pure and natural as Coors. Brew refresh. just like you like it. Capping ice cold Coors with a friend of yours. A Rocky Mountain legend, an American original.
The Chicago Cubs of 1989 are center stage in the Windy City. And let's think of what's taken place in the NFL. The Bears lost the NFC title game. In the NHL, the Blackhawks lost in a final game in the Final Four. In the NCAA, Illinois lost in the Final Four. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls eliminated last night by the Detroit Pistons. So the stage belongs to the Chicago Cubs. They're making the most of it. They're in first place.
Making the most of it. A lot of people happy. You hear a lot of baseball fans, well, thank God the basketball's out of the way. Thank God the football's out of the way. Don't look around the corner. They've gone to camp, those football players. It never ends.
Frank DePino pitching to Mark Grace. DePino, the fourth Cardinal pitcher. Now back 0-1. So it's been Hill, Costello, Daly, and DePino. And of course Daly is the one who feels that he let it get away. DePino was with the Cubs for the last 2.5 years and was signed by the Cardinals as a free agent. DePino had been with Houston since '82, then came to the Cubs in '86, and like several others before him, notably Bruce Sutter, Lou Brock, he has worn both uniforms in the great rivalry. One down. Milt Thompson is now in center field. If you're keeping score, Thompson batted for Daly, so he'll stay in the game in center, batting ninth. Since Willie McGee made the last out, put Frank DePino in McGee's spot. DePino pitching to Damon Berryhill. Flied to left, singled, flied to right, struck out. Scored a run. Shot, a smothering stop by Pendleton to get him. So Berryhill losing a possible base hit on a dazzler by Terry Pendleton. And the batter will be Lloyd McClendon, but Whitey Herzog is going to make a switch. And he will bring in Dan Quisenberry.
Great play by Pendleton, diving to his left. Always known to be an outstanding defensive third baseman. His 12 errors last year, a year in which he suffered from physical problems. He had shoulder problems, hamstring, and he had arthroscopic surgery on his knee, but you can see there he is healthy again this year. 6 errors so far this season, but a spectacular play right there, robbing Berryhill of a base hit.
So 2 down in the 10th inning, and Whitey Herzog will bring in Dan Quisenberry to pitch to Lloyd McClendon. So the Cardinals have used Hill, Costello, Daly, DePino, and now Quisenberry. And you can't help but wonder what kind of a game you would have between the Cardinals and the Oakland A's, with Whitey Herzog dealing to Tony La Russa.
Those guys down there selling peanuts and hot dogs and soft drinks would love it, wouldn't they?
Boy, they would be maneuvering.
They'd say, hey, let's go, get them now while they last. We're going to be here a while. We're going to have some changes made and some pitcher changes. Amazing thing about the Oakland A's, when they use 4 or more pitchers, it's usually in a winning effort.
The veteran Dan Quisenberry coming out of the pen. Quisenberry's career began in Waterloo way back in 1975. He first came up to Kansas City in 1979 and stayed with Kansas City until last year. He was released on the 4th of July by Kansas City and signed with the Cardinals 10 days later.
Of course, one of the most unusual deliveries in Major League Baseball. Quisenberry and Kent Tekulve, the 2 pitchers known for the underhand delivery. One of the things to look for here is you see Quiz warm up or throw here during the game. His shoulders, the plane of his shoulders are exactly the same as if he were throwing underhand. Only it's just like throwing in a mirror. Everything is reversed here. Left-hand hitters do much better against a Quiz or a Ticovey than the right-hand hitters.
Well, Lloyd McClendon had 3 for 3 last night, then singled as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning and takes a strike. 0-1. In extra inning games, the Cubs have only been in 2 prior to today. They've split them. The Cardinals are in their 8th extra inning game, and they've won 5 of the previous 7. 1-1. When the Cardinals bat in the bottom of the 10th inning, Ozzie Smith, Jim Lindeman, and Terry Pendleton. Remember, Guerrero went out for Lindeman. Chopper foul, and the count 1-2. Curtis Wilkerson, the third baseman, on deck. For the spectator, this has been a perfect game, a seesaw game, a lot of action, home runs, extra base hits, dazzling defensive plays, and now extra innings. The chopper wide of first, backhanded by Lindeman, overhands to Quisenberry, and he can't hold it. Backed up by Pena. A low throw to first. Tough ball for Quisenberry to handle coming over, and they're going to give Lindeman the error, understandably so. Normally, you try to hang the ball over the bag for the pitcher up around his eyes. Instead, Lindeman kind of wristed it and threw a sinker.
Probably had his weight going away from the bag and throwing back across his body. A tough play for a first baseman. Quiz there in plenty of time. You see McClendon go by the bag and make a break for second. He had to get back. Tony Pena had a play on him. He made an effort to go towards second base, and if you do that, your intent to go to second, you better get back to the bag if you don't go.
Curtis Wilkerson, a switch hitter. Gary Varsho comes out on deck. So Varsho would bat for Calvin Schiraldi if given the opportunity. Pat Perry throwing in the Cub bullpen. So we'll see just how big that error was as Wilkerson checks in, hitting left-handed. Wilkerson would appear to be a much better hitter from this side of the plate. Today he is 0 for 4. Fouled away.
There's a new pitch from Quisenberry. Came back up top there. I haven't seen him do that very often. Not the other end delivery, yeah.
After all the years,
yeah.
You wouldn't think
kind
he
of
could get
unusual.
the arm up.
Yeah. Just look at this.
Well,
he stands up. He got there, but he stood up more. He didn't bend the upper torso to the right as much. Almost as if he's trying to throw a normal sidearm delivery.
0-1. There goes the runner on a pitch out, and Pena's throw is not held on by Ozzie Smith, and it appeared as if McClendon had the base stolen anyway.
Here on the pregame show, Don Zimmer says we'll try to eke out a run any way we can. This is a Cub team that pulled a squeeze bunt last night. They hit and run, they steal, and they tried a steal of home as well. Zim will do anything. It's also a ball club. When Zim came over here, they had the steal sign, and a lot of players had a green light on this ball club, and they wouldn't steal. They wouldn't steal until the 4th or 5th time a pitch was made. Finally, Zim put in, says, must steal. You must go on this pitch. He has made this club a running ball club.
1 ball and 1 strike to count to Curtis Wilkerson. Ball 2. That gets behind Pena, but holding at second base is McClendon. As we mentioned at the very start of the game, one of the surprises in a most surprising couple of months, the fact that the Cubs have more stolen bases than the Cardinals, and by far. The Cardinals came into the game with 46 stolen bases, and they have not tried to steal one. Meanwhile, the Cubs pick up a stolen base twice today to give them 60. 2-1 to count to Curtis Wilkerson.
And as soon as McClendon got to second base, Mitch Williams got up in the Chicago bullpen. You know, that man got to scoring position. Bingo, the big boy gets up.
They've had a runner in scoring position in the 7th, 8th, and now here in the 10th. And of course, they had that dramatic 2-out home run in the 9th to tie it. 2-1. Ground ball to first. Lindemann takes it to the bag, and the top of the 10th is in the books. No runs, no hits, 1 error, a man left. And at the end of 9 1/2, a 5-5 tie.
If you think there's not a nickel's worth of difference between Chevy S10 and Ford Ranger, check Chevy's longer, wider box. Or Chevy's warranty, covering hundreds of non-powertrain parts. 2 years longer than Ford's. In fact, there's over 20,000 nickels difference, because this Chevy costs over $1,000 less. Plus, choose another 15,000 nickels cash back, and you can take that to the bank.
That's today's Chevy truck.
It seems like yesterday the Miller girls were in their strollers. Today things are changing. I'm State Farm Agent Dee Ray. After Shannon and Stephanie came along, the Millers needed our family insurance checkup. I showed them ways they could update their family coverage to cover their bigger family. Like every State Farm agent, I work with a family to help keep their insurance up to date. Keeping up with the girls, that's their job.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's not just a car, it's your freedom. An open ticket to ride. It's what this country's all about. A feeling deep inside that wherever you want you can go. Freedom. There's a road that'll take you there. Freedom. 'Cause Mr. Goodrich knows it's not just a car, it's your freedom.
5-5, bottom of the 10th inning. Smith, Lindemann, and Pendleton coming up. A reminder, NBC's exclusive network coverage of the French Open continues tomorrow. Exciting match play. Steffi Graf, Mats Wilander defending their titles against the world's great tennis players, including Andre Agassi. That's tomorrow, the French Open on NBC Sports. Ozzie Smith, Jim Lindemann, and Terry Pendleton against Calvin Schiraldi. Wilkerson up inside the bag at third. Ball 1. Ozzie grounded out in single, fouled out, and flied out. Grace has shortened up, but he's still back of the bag, guarding the line. Ball 2.
How many home runs does Kevin Mitchell have?
18.
Now that the lineup that the Cardinals have in right now, do you know how many they have so far this year?
Not
5,
18.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10 home runs. And 3-0 the count to Ozzie Smith. Schiraldi now certainly doesn't walk a rabbit. And a strike, 3-1. Ozzie Smith has stolen 7 out of 9. And he walked him. The Cub pitchers have only walked 2. Mike Bielecki walked Oquendo in the 4th inning. And now Schiraldi walks Smith, opening up the 10th. So the heat will be on the Cub infield now as Ozzie Smith held on by Mark Grace. And the batter, Jim Lindemann.
He's only been up 29 times. You wonder what Whitey's going to do here.
Big lead by Ozzie, but the bunt down to Grace. He will tag Lindemann, and on the sacrifice, Ozzie Smith takes second. I thought he might wait to see if Ozzie could try and steal, and you know, Ozzie had both feet on the rug when that pitch was made.
I was kind of surprised. I figured something might happen there. One of the complaints has been that the Cardinals getting runners to scoring position and then having real bad pitch selection at which to swing at. Johnny Lewis, the hitting instructor for the hitting coach for the St. Louis Cardinals, talking that when the Cardinals have been getting runners to third base with less than 2 outs, they're going to walk Pendleton, or runners in scoring position at second. They really have had bad pitch selection, which to swing at, really swinging at pitches out of the strike zone. not swinging it. A pitch they could drive to the outfield will say 1 out and a runner on third base. Just not very intelligent hitting.
First and second in a moment with 1 out, and Tom Brunansky will be coming up. So Ozzie Smith walks and is sacrificed to second. Pendleton gets the intentional walk, and Brunansky followed by Rod Booker. Tom Brunansky with Mitch Williams in the pen. Brunansky has popped up, flied to left, doubled on a 3-0 pitch. He lined one off the left field wall 383 feet away, and then last time up grounded out. So the Cardinals trying to win it with 2 on, 1 out in the 10th in a 5-5 tie.
We're talking about the Cardinals and the double plays, 45 double plays that they have grounded into, and you would think that Brunansky might be the biggest culprit. Yet he has only grounded into 3. Pendleton has grounded into 8.
0-1. Fastball hit in the air, foul down the right field line and back into the seats, out of play. 0-2 the count to Tom Brunansky as Calvin Schiraldi goes right after him. With Ozzie Smith at second with his 7 stolen bases. Terry Pendleton also runs well. He's stolen 5 out of 6. And Schiraldi has to really watch both of them. And he backed off the rubber. No balls and 2 strikes to Brunansky. Low. One thing when you have runners like Ozzie Smith and Pendleton, if you're the third baseman, even though you have a Brunansky at the plate, you can't afford to play deep. So that shortens up Wilkerson at third because he can't open the door. Ozzie Smith otherwise might come right down there.
Also keeping an eye on Ozzie, too.
Right.
He has a half an eye towards second base, looking for movement from the white uniform from second base.
Tough position under the circumstances. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Curveball hit in the air to center, and DeCenzo coming in a hurry, base hit. Ozzie Smith will stop at third because they thought the ball should have been caught. And the bases are loaded with 1 out. DeCenzo got a late start. I think Doug thought the ball was hit harder than it was. Then when he realized he couldn't catch it, he had to worry about an AstroTurf hop where it would go over his head.
He made a good play on stopping the ball. That's one of the tragic things can happen on artificial surfaces. The ball can bounce out over your head. Mitch Williams is certainly going to come into this spot. Popeye's going to bring him in, but I think that DeCenzo was fooled exactly right, Benny. The ball hit a big swing, but the ball hit on the end of the bat. So you get the big swing, but nothing really comes out. He just got a late break coming in. And you will wonder the decision whether Zim would bring his big left-hander in. There's really no choice now. He has to.
He's going to make the best out of a tough situation. He will make a 2-for-1 switch. Since Wilkerson made the last out in the top of the 10th inning, he will put Mitch Williams in Wilkerson's spot. Then he will put Vance Law at third base. And that would mean Law, should there be an 11th inning, would lead off. Well, you talk about drama. This game has had everything. And now, on a somewhat misjudged fly ball, you not only have the bases loaded and 1 out, but you have the guy who pitches in his own words, as if his hair is on fire, Mitch Williams, the most colorful relief pitcher to come along in quite a while.
I have a feeling I'm going to be hearing that phrase quite a few times. Pitching as if my hair is on.
Unreal.
I think that got into your notebook. Do you like that one, huh?
One of the more memorable Cardinal relief pitchers still works here in St. Louis, Al Raboski, the mad Hungarian, who used to take walks behind the mound and talk to himself. And Mitch Williams has become an extremely colorful relief pitcher.
Isn't it odd that they're both left-handed?
Never mind.
Huh?
I refuse
One of the announcers is left-handed.
I refuse to accept that observation. So the bases are loaded. Rod Booker is due to be the batter. And Tom Pagnozzi, the backup catcher, will come up and hit for Booker. So Tom Pagnozzi will be the batter.
Well, you're talking about two managers that are really pulling some strings. I'm down to one player left for the Cardinals. One pitcher left for the Chicago Cubs.
Here's the thing about Mitch Williams that makes it so wild, and you can look at Whitey's scorecard with all kinds of notations on it, how the defense sets up against various hitters. Mitch Williams in 26 innings has given up 25 hits and 22 walks. He pitches out of the stretch all the time. However, with one out and the bases loaded, he also has struck out more than innings pitched. He has struck out 30. And he goes head-to-head with Pagnozzi. Pagnozzi has struck out maybe 20% of the time, a little less than that. Pagnozzi followed by Pena. Ozzie Smith, the winning run 90 feet away. The infield is up, the outfield is shallow, and here we go. Swung on and fouled away. 0-1.
You know, a high strikeout ratio, like you say, Vinny, 30 strikeouts in 26 innings pitched, but a lot of walks, a lot of base hits, and opponents are hitting 260 off of Mitch Williams. And that's a pretty good clip to hit your number one guy, your closer, out of the bullpen.
0-1. See that follow through as he winds up with his back to the hitter, tumbling off the mound. It's been used before like a man falling out of a tree. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fly ball to right field down the line. Going back is Webster. Even if he catches it, the game is over. Ozzie Smith tags up and scores. The St. Louis Cardinals win a thriller in the 10th inning to snap a 5-game losing streak. The Cardinals are 3-0 in extra inning victories on NBC's Game of the Week. They've beaten the Mets, the Dodgers, and now the Cubs in overtime. 5 runs, 8 hits, and no errors for the losing Cubs. 6, 11, and 3 for the winning Cardinals. Calvin Schiraldi, who walked Ozzie Smith, is the losing pitcher, and Dan Quisenberry would pick up the victory. The Major League Baseball Game of the Week has been brought to you by Buick and your Buick dealer. The great American road belongs to Buick. By Burger King, where we do it like you do it. By the official soft drink of summer, Coca-Cola Classic. You can't beat the feeling. And by GMAC, the official sponsor of America's Dreams. A reminder tomorrow, the French Open. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Sunday.
That's Davy Crockett.
Dodging bullets, ducking spears, and birthing babies. He's the very best there is. An all-new adventure on the magical world of Disney Sunday.
Replacing your windows with Anderson windows is one of the best things you can do for your home. Come home. Invest in Anderson windows for your home, and it'll always show its appreciation. Get this 84-page book of window ideas at these Anderson dealers.
7 Lumber Company, Lawrenceburg Supply Company, Lexington Building and Supply, and Stratton Lumber Company.
It's here, now. Tom Raper's 25th anniversary sale, and Tom's got it all. The Midwest's largest showroom and selection of motorhomes. Fifth wheels, travel trailers, tent campers, truck campers, and truck caps from $99. Even mobile homes, only $99 per month, and sectional homes, $199 per month. Nobody beats Tom Raper's bottom line deal. So don't miss the celebration at Tom Raper's, because when Tom celebrates, you save money. I-70 exit 149A, Richmond, Indiana, where the roses never fade. Closed Sunday.
Is your transmission shot? Maybe, maybe not. Now's the time to take your car to AMCO. They'll give your transmission the most complete diagnostic checkup in the industry. So if it's just a small problem, they'll spot it. Fact is, half the cars serviced by AMCO dealers don't need a new transmission. So chances are that little leak won't end up draining your wallet.
AMCO, AA, MCO.
AMCO Transmission, 707 Lane Allen Road and 1267 Eastland Drive.
Newhart, weeknights at 7:30 on WLEX-TV.
Good evening. I'm Maria Shriver in New York. It is now early dawn in Beijing, China, almost 7 a.m. to be precise. The last 7 hours over there have been bloody. They have been violent. There is death, and the gunfighting reportedly continues. To get the absolute latest, we want to go now to Annie Pong, who is at the Beijing Hotel, which is just adjacent to Tiananmen Square, where most of the violence throughout the night has occurred. Annie, can you tell us what is going on right now?
Maria, we thought it was over, but apparently it's not quite over yet. 30 more tanks just rode into Tiananmen Square a little while ago. And then truckloads of troops came out onto the street and started firing in order to clear the angry citizens off the street. The major assault on the square started about an hour ago. Soldiers fired into the square for about 5 minutes. Then more troops moved in. Casualties must be very, very high. And if there are any more students in the square, they are in serious trouble. And by the way, the democracy statue is down, probably knocked over by the armored vehicles that moved into the square.
Annie, we are looking at pictures. Live broadcast capabilities are not possible. The pictures you were just seeing are the latest up-to-the-minute pictures. Annie, can you give us any indication as to how many people have been injured?
We do not know. The soldiers are still there. The tanks are still there. Nobody could move in to take the injured or the dead out. So I really can't tell you how bad it is.
Okay, Annie Peng, who is reporting live from the Beijing Hotel, which is just adjacent, as I said earlier, to Tiananmen Square. President Bush has made a statement early this afternoon about the situation in China. To get an update on what he is thinking and what is going on, we want to now check in with Sandy Gilmore, who is at Kennebunkport, Maine.
Yes, Maria, the president's men issued a statement as follows. The Chinese demonstrators, he said, were citizens who were simply making a peaceful statement in favor of democracy. The president said he deeply deplored the decision to use force and the consequent loss of life. The president said that in the past few weeks, he had been urging nonviolence and restraint on the part of Chinese authorities there in Tiananmen Square, and that, quote, tragically, another course has been chosen. The president said he hoped that China would rapidly return to the path of political and economic reform so that the Chinese-American relationship, which he said has been so important in the past, could continue its growth. Now, that could be a hint that this brutal suppression there at Tiananmen Square could affect the future of Chinese-American relations. The president is now trying to relax, has been trying to relax at his seaside home after his week-long NATO-European trip, but he has been kept abreast of developments by his advisors. He returns to Washington tomorrow. Maria?
Sandy Gilmore, live from Kennebunkport, Maine. As we mentioned earlier, the skirmishes do continue, as Annie Peng reported to you. The government is calling this a counter-revolution. Reports do indicate that hundreds of people have been injured. Something like 100 have been reported dead, but that figure has been changing throughout the day. As soon as we get confirmation on all of these figures, we will, of course, bring it to you on NBC Nightly News this evening. But for the moment, that is the situation in Beijing, China, and we want to return you now to Marv Albert.
All right, thank you, Maria. And here is a quickie rundown of the day in sports. First, a look at the baseball in St. Louis in the game you just saw. In 10 innings, the slumping Cardinals knocked off the Cubs 6-5 with 2 outs in the ninth. Mitch Webster had a home run to tie the game at 5 for the Cubs, but the Cardinals came back to win it in 10. The Cardinals end their losing streak at 5. The Cubs now a game and a half in front of Montreal. In Atlanta, the red-hot Giants knocked off the Braves by the score of 4-0. No score in the fourth inning when Kevin Mitchell did it again. Put the Giants on the board with this two-run home run off Zane Smith. The homer, Mitchell's 18th, his third in less than 24 hours. He leads the majors with 18 home runs, 53 RBIs. Candy Maldonado also had a two-run home run. Combined five-hitter for Robinson, Hamaker, and Lacasse. Hamaker, the winner. Giants lead in the West by a game and a half. At Fenway in Boston, it was Toronto over Boston by the count of 10-2. The Blue Jays have won 11 straight games at Fenway Park. They have not lost in Boston since August of 1987. Fourth inning, Nelson Liriano drilling one into right field. Bell and McGriff come in to score, and the Blue Jays move in front by the score of 3-2. Next batter, Junior Felix, who has been on fire. He came through with this two-out base hit, two more runs in, capping a four-run fourth for Toronto. Felix had 4 RBIs and 3 hits. Fred McGriff had his 12th home run, again the final. Toronto 10 and Boston 2. The other day game, 7th inning behind Bob Welch. Oakland in front of Cleveland by the score of 5-0, going in Indians with 5 straight wins. And in the first of a twilight doubleheader behind Frank Viola in the second, it's Minnesota leading Chicago by the score of 4-0. Everything else goes tonight. So that's our quickie wrap-up. Let's get back to Vin and Tom in St. Louis.
The totals are correct. The Cardinals in a seesaw ball game beat the Cubs 6-5. The executive producer of NBC Sports, Terry O'Neill. The coordinating producer of NBC Baseball, John Filippelli. Produced today by Ricky Diamond. Directed by Bucky Gunz. Quite a show. A fitting paragraph to the Cub-Cardinal rivalry.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports, the leader in innovative sports television.
Vinny Pazienza, Vinny Borghese. The Tasmanian Devil returns live on NBC Sports World.
Whatever the job, Echo makes the tool to do it right. Grass trimmers, chainsaws, hedge clippers, lawnmowers, blowers, and more. And your full-service Echo dealer can help you choose the Echo that's right for you.
Echo gas trimmers on sale at $139.99 after rebate. Save $30 after rebate on Echo.
7 team against the Mets. By the 70 team against San Diego. And by the 77 team. Also ground ball to Wilkerson playing second. Sandberg out of the game now. Wilkerson throws out Coleman.
The media relations director of the St. Louis Cardinals is checking back, and to his recollection, he can't find any team that's